Are you ready to connect with distinguished Nigerians around the world? The Diaspora Perspective is here to share the views of Nigerians in the diaspora on burning issues.
From the street of New York, the royal cities of London, and the bustling cities of Europe, Voice of the People Television brings to you a roundtable and collage of interesting views from Nigerians in diaspora.
Join the host of the show and some Nigerians in diaspora, Dr. Damages, the flagship, Show, and KJ, as they discuss the experiences, challenges, and triumphs of Nigerians living abroad.
Discussing and analyzing everything from politics, culture, policies, career success, and how Nigerians are staying connected to their roots. Showing every Saturday by 2 p.m. West African Time and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The Diaspora Perspective, giving a voice to Nigerians abroad.
Hello there, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us on the Diaspora Perspective show, Home and Abroad, on the Voice of the People Television, VOP. I am Chukwuma Okoro. Now, before we get into the major discussions, we encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our page. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. You can also visit our website for other interesting stories. We are at www.vop.ng. You can also be part of the conversation by calling in or sending WhatsApp messages to the number showing on your screen. Now, the number is 0904-473-2605. Today, we'll be looking at very interesting topics, resolving the crisis of Igbo identity as Rivers Group denounces Azuta-Mbata for accepting Ohanaze Igbo leadership. Oh, well, we'll move away from that. We'll talk about vote-face. Governors back contentious tax reform bills, seek adjustment to value-added tax regime. And when we are done with that, we'll look at reforms. World Bank has said, look, Nigeria's economic growth will increase by 3.6% or will increase to 3.67 between the years 2025 and 2026. Oh, well, let me bring in our guests. We have a lean house today, but it's all good. We have in the studio Dr. Dayo Kayode, who is a socio-political technocrat and an aviation safety expert. We are joined virtually by Dr. Damages. Dr. Damages is a satirist, writer, journalist, and adjunct professor at the School of Visual Arts in New York City, United States of America. We also have KJ. KJ is in media production, is an expert in training, and joins from Maryland, United States of America. We also have CM. CM is a trained clinical scientist, but he has interest in international politics, Nigerian politics, and development economics. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on the show. Dr. Kayode,
yes,
good to have you.
It's my pleasure.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
How are you doing? I'm very well.
You're looking great. This of theirs, Papa, is...
Maybe I should give you some.
No. It shows a sign of good living.
Nigeria is working.
Sign of good living.
Nigeria is working.
No.
Nigeria is working.
VOP is working.
VOP is in Nigeria.
VOP TV
Thank you,
working.
Dr. K. Dr. Damages, good afternoon. Dr. Kayode said I should ask you, how much damage are we going to do today?
Nice to be here. I think this is my first time this year I've been on the show. So
really?
Okay, so can I say Happy New Year to you?
Yeah, you can.
Yes.
All right then, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you
Same
so
here
much.
too. I think same here.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, Doc.
Yeah, Happy
All
New
right
Year.
then. Now, KJ, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chukuma. It's good to be here. And thank you. Thank you, my brother in the studio. We celebrate you from this side, sir.
Yes, how are you today?
KJ, I thought you would be sporting that your bloke suit that you wore the other day that got me crazy. All right,
today,
very well. You still look good. CM, good afternoon. My brother CM. How are you today?
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Okoro. I'm so happy that
good to have you. Good to have you.
Yeah, good.
Finally, I'm joining you. Thank you.
Good to have you. Good to have you.
How is UK?
Well, very cold. I wouldn't advise anybody to come now.
We don't even want to come. We want you guys to bring back the pounds and the euro and all the dollar that you have so that we can invest here in Nigeria. What are you all doing there? Come back home. Let's build this country. Come on.
Kidnapping our
Nobody is talking. None of you is talking again because I said come back home.
How's my sister Bernadette doing?
All right then.
Badenoch will soon be prime minister in the next election.
Yes,
that's good news.
I'm looking forward to that.
Now, before we get into the major topics of discussion, there are other stories that trended in Nigeria within the week. Now, in the Nigerian town of Baga, near Lake Chad, Boko Haram militants have ambushed a team of Nigerian soldiers attempting to retrieve the bodies of civilians killed in a previous attack. According to a military source, the soldiers were searching for the remains of 40 residents killed by the insurgents when they were ambushed, leading to an intense gun battle. The source reported an unspecified number of military casualties, with the exact number still unknown due to ongoing evacuation efforts. A local civilian source from Baga also revealed that approximately 50 villagers, including civilians, in the Joint Task Force members, local hunters, and other young men had attempted to recover the remains of those killed in the Sunday attack, but were ambushed and suffered multiple casualties. While the exact number of deaths among the civilians is still unknown, only one has returned to the village so far. A separate attack occurred in Wozau, resulting in the deaths of 6 people, including 5 repentant insurgents and members of the civilian Joint Task Force and hunters. Dr. Kayode, let me start with you. This seems to be bad news. I mean, 40 civilians, 40 farmers for that matter, were killed in their farms. In their farms. Now, soldiers went to recover these bodies with some civilians, and they were ambushed, and they were also killed in the process. What is the meaning of all this? How does that speak to the fight against terrorism in Nigeria? And the military's assertion that they have decimated Boko Haram, that they have removed Lakora, and all the forces, all the non-state actors that have held us hostage for the past 12 years and more. What's your reaction to all of this?
You see, without damaging anything, rather raising a flagship, I will want to start with...
want to start the show?
My submission.
Okay. You talked about no damages and raising the flagship.
No damages, but raising the flagship.
And you want to start the show with your comments? To
start the show with my... Okay. I will start with a Yoruba adage that says, Kòkòrò tó ń jẹ̀fọ́, ara ẹ̀fọ́ ló wà. And I will interpret this way.
Okay.
The weevil that is eating, damaging the vegetable, damaging the beans, is inside of that vegetable and the beans.
Okay, explain that to us.
Now, let me take you back a little bit. There was a time, I think the South Africans or so came to Nigeria to assist us in fighting the insurgents, the terrorists. And according to the news, they now planned to go and gas them up. To go and gas those people up where they were. Surprisingly, by the time they will get to that place, those people have used gas mask. So how did they know?
So what does that tell you?
What I'm saying is, there was another day, they were going to fight those insurgents. And they have mapped out their strategies. On their way, our soldiers were being ambushed. So who has been giving those people information if it is not an insider? Going further, are we really out to fight insurgents, or we are targeting civilians? If not,
don't you think that we are serious, considering the amount of money we have spent on these? And several times the president sorry, doctor.
I'm talking about that seriousness.
Sorry, doctor. I want to ask a question. Because several times, the president, not just this one, even the former president, has spent so much money. Even ordered...
Tucano jets.
Doctor, wait. Even ordered ministers of defense, chief of defense staff, chief of army staff, to relocate to battlefield, and they have done that. So what else do we need to do?
Story. All those ones now story. They are all cover up. They are all alibis. If not, tell me, the first time you said it was a mistake, whereby instead of you attacking the insurgents from the area, you were killing our civilians at Sokoto, you remember. The one of last year, twice now, last year, and you are still claiming that yes, mistake. Where is your professionalism?
Okay.
Where is your accurate shooting? Where is your recce?
And all the questions that surround the
all these
management
questions,
of insecurity.
And we are I'm now saying, that's why I said, we are the ones that are fighting ourselves and showing as if they are insurgents.
All right, now let's bring in our diaspora guest. Dr. Damages, let me come straight to you now. What's your reaction to the fact that 40 farmers were killed? And meanwhile, we are battling with food shortage. The other time, someone suggested that, in fact, military people suggested that, look, the president should send soldiers to farms. Is that one way to solve our problems?
Thank you, Chukuma. It's a certain that every week, every month, we talk about these things. I think we're desensitized to what is going on across Nigeria. Let me give you an example. The International Organization of Migration, as of July last year, said that we have 215 ID camps in the Northeast. 215 ID camps, and we have over 370,000 people displaced. This is something that should horrify us, but we are desensitized. We don't feel it anymore. There are some places in America here where every evening news, they put out the number of people who are missing, mostly children who are missing. They bring it to the consciousness of the people. This is the number of people who are living in ID camp in a country like Nigeria, where there is no war, no civil war. It should horrify us. It should make us hold the people who were elected to solve these problems accountable. It should make us question military commanders whose responsibility it is to deal with this problem. We've given them money. Every year in the budget, we see billions budgeted for this. If they are not delivering, if they cannot solve that problem, we have to find a different solution. We cannot allow this to continue. If you have 40 farmers killed, that means, you know how many people that won't be fed? You know what it means for a society that you have 40 farmers killed in one day, in one operation, by one group. And you hear the military chiefs saying that we are getting our hands in control of this issue. Good. But they are not, apparently, because the result out there is not supporting what they are putting out.
All right, Dr. Damages, before I let you go now, because we are still talking about trending stories, you said something about a program on TV that tells us, that tells you people in the US the number of people that are missing. Is it possible?
Yeah, it's localized. It's not a national
localized,
thing.
So you don't have a definite figure about the number of
people.
You
can find the figure. You can find the figure. I mean, this is also what is wrong with Nigeria.
Okay.
Keeping records.
All right.
Okay. You don't wait for the government to do that.
All
there
right.
are institutions, universities can say, I'm keeping record of people who are kidnapped, people who were killed.
We also have figures. We have figures here, but like between 2015 and 2023, during the government of Muhammadu Buhari, it was on record that about 63,000 Nigerians were killed by terrorists, kidnappers, headsmen, and all of that in cold blood. The figure you reeled out from the International Migration Institute or organization, as the case may be, some people will think that it is much higher than that. We have more than 1 million people that are already displaced in Nigeria. We're talking about 357,000. I think the figures are way higher.
Yeah, that's for the Northeast, not for the whole country.
Okay, just Northeast alone,
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
now you can imagine when we put together the figures of the whole country. Anyway, let's leave it at that. Now, let's go to CM to have his quick reaction on this trending topic.
Chukuma, I think my submission wouldn't be different from what your guest in the studio said. That actually, this level of insecurity we are having with reference to what happened in Borno State is entirely of our own making. It's like a franchise. The solution lies in the Nigerian military. They are making business out of it. But the thing is that there are say casualties, like all these farmers, innocent farmers killed. So that makes it worrisome. However, going forward, if indeed, and I mean it, if indeed clearly underlined and in uppercase that Nigeria want to end insurgency and all this, they should come out and say, look, we want to end it, and the thing will end. But this idea of piecemeal, telling us Buhari will say during his own time, we move Ministry of Defense to Borno until everything is done, and all those things, budgeting billions, is purely a franchise. It's as simple as that. I don't think that whatever is happening in Borno State is beyond the capacity of Nigerian military to contain. What are the military? Why are you militarizing the southeast when you need when they are needed in the northeast? So Nigeria is just it's a joke. They are making money out of it. They budget money and then they spend it on themselves. But if assuming that maybe the farmers weren't killed, one would have said, okay, it's just them army versus this. They are just making business out of it. So to me, in fact, it's a very big shame, and I'm really disappointed that we should be discussing this every time.
Okay, thanks very much, CM. Now, let's have your quick reaction before we move on.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chukuma. My reaction will be this. It's like a game of poll vote. Poll vote, the one you use the poll. When you are a poll voter and you decide to go for a jump, you have two things. It's either you scale the jump or you fail it. Now, if you fail it, they don't give you a mark for saying you tried. They only give you a mark when you're able to scale the jump. That's the same thing. We can just take that and paste on what Nigerian army have been doing so far. Nobody's going to give you any commendation for trying, and this thing have been going on for 15 years. They have budgeted a lot of money, but Naira does not have leg. It doesn't work. It doesn't fight. So the Naira can be in someone's pocket, cooling off in his beer parlor in his house and relaxing while the ordinary Nigerians are dying in their drones. So I think that it's a time that the president and the people who are running the country will sit down and tell themselves the plain truth. You are not able to do this. Take all the military people, wherever you can find them, to those locations where people are being killed and deal with this once and for all. Thank you. All right,
thanks very much, KJ. I guess Nigeria is a work in progress, just is a work in progress. Like every other country. I hope that we'll get over this soon. Now, let's get into another topic. And as there's tension in Benin, because APC and PDP are trading wars over shooting in Edo Tribunal. In Benin City, a volatile scene unfolded as masked thugs fired sporadically near the Edo Election Petition Tribunal. A viral video showed a youth wearing a People's Democratic Party PDP face cap and emerging from a white Toyota Hilux, firing into the air and causing panic. The scene was exacerbated by the sounds of gunfire echoing into the tribunal venue. Now, the incident has led to a war of words between the All Progressives Congress, APC, and PDP chairman, Jared Teribe, who condemned the attack, labeling it an unacceptable act of violence that undermines the legal system. However, the acting chairman of the State PDP Caretaker Committee, Tony Azegbemi, rejected the allegations, calling it a preposterous attempt to discredit the PDP. The APC accused the PDP supporters of being responsible for the attack, claiming it was a devious ploy to disrupt the legal process. On the other hand, the PDP vehemently dissociated itself from the incident, accusing the APC of trying to sabotage their chances of winning at the tribunal. The PDP maintained that it will not engage in acts that jeopardize their own chances, emphasizing that this was just another attempt by the APC to tarnish their image. Oh, well, we also understand that in the same Edo State, the APC during the week forcibly took over the PDP secretariat, claiming that, look, This is our own secretariat that was taken over by the PDP when the governor ported from APC to PDP. And now that we are in power, they went and chased away the PDP people and took over the PDP secretariat in Edo State. All of that is happening just within 2 or 3 days in Benin City. Now, let's join in because there's another thing that happened there during the budget defense. As the National Assembly's Joint Committee on Finance recently absorbed the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, of initial allegations of financial misconduct. The accusation centered on claims that JAMB had extravagantly spent 1.1 billion naira on meals and 850 million naira on fumigation to kill mosquitoes. Now, during the budget defense session, JAMB's registrar, Professor Ishak Oloyede, attempted to explain these expenditures, but was unable to fully present his case. The committee later clarified that the document submitted by JAMB demonstrated responsible spending practices. Dr. K.
Off the mic.
Let me start with you.
Off the mic on
No,
that.
your mic is on.
Off
so
the
speak.
mic.
Speak,
Off
your
the
mic
mic.
is on.
You see, it's a pity that in this country, we build people rather than institutions. And most of the time, we also go to the church or the mosque
Fridays and
without
Sundays.
making good use of the teachings of both the Quran and the Bible. How do I mean? Now, that young chap that dropped for one Ilos, when you look at his configuration, you know that he doesn't have that capacity to buy Hilos. That's number one. Number two, somebody must have given him that gun to be shooting sporadically. Number three, within the premises of that court, don't we have both police, DSS, SSS, and all of them there?
They were policemen.
So what did they do?
They couldn't disarm him.
Because they have been ordered from somewhere that this is. And again, let us go to King Solomon in the Bible. When he was trying to solve the riddle of the two women, who owns the child among the two of them?
Okay.
The owner of that child said, don't let this child be killed. But the other person, why did he say? Okay, divide it to two. So if you are coming to do that kind of a heinous thing, will you put up a cap of your party? Secondly, but we saw the face of that guy now at the video that went viral. So why can't you follow him up based on that? Okay, let's go to Ishak Oloyede on the JAMB.
Members of the PDP said they have identified the guy and that he's a card-carrying member of APC.
And then let them bring him out. But the person that sent him will have gone to hid him somewhere. Don't let us go to some other things that have happened in the past.
Okay.
Whereby they went to hid them. I mean, we remember the issue of Gloria Okona. And they said it was found in
okay,
UK.
You take
Where is the other guy? Where is the other guy that was eating human flesh? Caught at Oshodi Bridge, Airport Road the other day. What's his name again? That Igbo chap that was eating flesh.
King.
Meanwhile, not King.
Reverend King.
Not Reverend King. That was selling human flesh.
Okay, Oji.
Clifford Oji. Where is he, Clifford? You know all those things. Well, let's leave it. Let's go to Oloyede. Initially, he was alleged. And he was brought to the committee. They said he should go back and prepare himself. But the question is, what kind of a meal are you serving to have used 1.1 billion to eat? Remember the case of somebody using 500 million to cut grass. This time around, it is fumigation. I mean, do you understand?
To kill mosquitoes.
That's what I'm saying.
50 million naira.
Where people are hungry.
Meanwhile, JAMB generated 4 billion naira, and their subvention was how much? 6 billion.
Have you also heard of this MD that got 4 point something billion, but then submitted 1 point something billion instead? That happened during the week. I will remember now. These are the things we are saying. And at the end of the day, I'm sure at that National Assembly, they have only decided to off the mic. That's what has happened.
All right. Now,
nothing more.
Let's bring in our diaspora guest. CM, let me come straight to you. I want your quick reaction on the
I think road safety
that we treated.
What road safety? Maybe I didn't hear. What? Sorry.
Sorry.
What
CM.
about? You said the road safety.
No. React to the two questions.
Yes, you said
two trending stories.
Okay. Oh, I thought you said road safety. Then on that Benin issue, let me start with that. I will describe what happened there as a violent drama. Violent because arms were used. Drama because it's like a staged play. But then it calls for concern. What really happened is that, from the look of things, or from my limited observation, APC is the guilty party here. They do not want the tribunal to sit or to deliver judgment. Somehow they are having an inkling that the evidence is overwhelming to be present. Evidence PDP will present is overwhelming. That even under intimidation, the panels will be forced to say the truth, and they reveal what happened. So they are using all manner of subterfuge, scale. They just to make sure that they didn't see it. In which case they will prolong it. At the end, they will do one thing or the other. Ordinarily, the APC should have been the party that will be saying we want the rule of law. Let us, because we want to present evidence that you really want, that you won the election. But they are not trying to do that. So that is my take on the election. It's just that APC is manipulating it, hoping that they will use the federal might to thwart the effort of PDP to present incontrovertible evidence. Then on the JAMB issue, I think I will say this: hasn't JAMB outlived its usefulness? That is just the question we should be looking into. Do we still really need JAMB? Hasn't it outlived its usefulness? It should be scrapped. This okay. How can you be giving them subvention to conduct exam or do whatever they are doing? If you now want to bring in accountability, they will quote one figure, say they made a return of 6, maybe I saw somewhere, maybe 6 billion. Yet they are using 1.8 billion to feed. Feed who? Who are they feeding? Don't they take salaries? What are they talking about? You see, Nigeria is really a joke when you look at this type of things. So to me, a quick submission is that Nigeria should talk of scrapping it. Every university should be able to devise a way to admit candidates and then conduct exams for them. That way, sanity will be returned to higher education. After all, JAMB is corrupt. We all know this. So why are we wasting our money? Thank you.
All right then. Thanks very much. Yeah. Now, Dr. Damages, let's have your quick take.
Okay, thank you so much. I've been calculating how many mosquitoes are in Nigeria. No, I'm serious. There are 110 trillion mosquitoes in the world. So I try to narrow it down. There's no statistics on how many there are in Nigeria. But let's say they are using 850 million naira to kill all the mosquitoes in the world. So it will mean that they are spending 129,000 naira for one mosquito.
How much is this exercise being sold?
Oh, the issue, and then about the food. Maybe, did you know, maybe they're feeding people who are sitting for JAMB exam, and we didn't know. Maybe people who have not been getting their meal. Maybe what are using 1.1 billion.
JAMB feeding program.
Yeah, maybe that's a program that people didn't know. They don't get their meal. They just take the exam and leave. You may hang around and they give you food. The point is that we talk about this, and at the end they will approve this budget. They will approve it. Nothing will change. Which tells you about the country, about what happened in Edo State. You would think that INEC, forget about the parties, PDP, APC, that INEC and the judiciary is in their interest to project that elections in Nigeria mean something, and that the judicial process is a serious process, which means that they will protect the process of determining in courts what will be the outcome of this election. But nobody cares. They don't even see it as this has an implication. for how the country is looked at on the international scene, which is unfortunate.
Quite unfortunate indeed. Now, KJ, let's have your quick reactions before we get into the major topic of discussion.
Okay, I'm going to toe the line of Dr. Damage and the rest of people have spoken. Look, we don't have to even talk about it. Okay, the police. What is the job of the police in Nigeria? There was gunshot. That means there's something that is beyond just the ordinary. What is the police doing? And then the criminal justice system. There was some people who tried to stop your court from sitting. What do you do to those people? Are they supposed to just do that and get away with it? You see, this is the thing that make us look so funny, when you look at Nigeria from outside Nigeria. And somebody will come and sit in the studio, tell you big stories of why that should be allowed to happen. Where else does it happen in this world? Where else does it happen? You people think you're the only one sitting there. Everybody looking at you and laughing. Okay, now, if Jam, some time ago, one certain snake I still somewhere in my village swallowed 5 million. Okay, now that snake have come back now, and maybe that's the snake they're feeding with the money or this feeding fish. We don't know. So the truth is that, is the government not interested in finding out who is feeding who? Are we not interested in finding out who is trying to stop the law court from sitting, or sorry, the tribunal from sitting and carry out its lawful duty? Are these things not scheduled in the Nigerian constitution as crime? What is the system doing to make all these things that are happening? We can't continue to just live in our own bubbles and be our own big fish. Thank you, sir.
All right, and thanks very much, KJ. The big question is, what is the system doing? What are we doing with the system? Oh, well, gentlemen, thanks for your very wonderful and insightful thoughts on these trending stories. Now, let's get into the major topic of discussion. As Ogbakor Ikwerre Fumes, Rivers Group, they have denounced Azuta-Mbata for accepting Ohanaze leadership. The Ogbakor Ikwerre cultural organization worldwide in Rivers State has formally rejected Senator John Azuta-Mbata's appointment as President General of Ohanaze Ndigbo, accusing him of taking the position without proper consultation with his community or kingsmen. In a statement released in Port Harcourt, the organization stated that Azuta-Mbata's acceptance of this role signifies a renunciation of his identity as an Ikwerre individual, aligning him instead with an organization that is strictly for the Igbo people. The organization emphasized that while Azuta-Mbata has the constitutional right to associate with any group, his decision to become the leader of Ohanaze Ndigbo is viewed as a personal choice that does not represent the views or consent of the Eneka community, the Apara Kingdom, or the broader Ikwerre ethnic nationality. They labeled his actions as sacrilegious and declared that he will be treated as a stranger in Ikwerre land going forward. Additionally, the group announced the revocation of all titles and honors previously awarded to Azuta-Mbata by any Ikwerre organization, solidifying their stance against his recent decision and reinforcing their allegiance to their cultural identity. Quite intriguing.
Yeah.
Dr. K, let me come to you. I have a reason for coming to you first.
It's good.
Let's get very deep. We are all Nigerians. You are Yoruba. You are not Igbo. You are not Ikwerre. Now, I want you to look at this scenario with the prism of an outsider,
Yes.
An outsider. And what do you understand? I don't know how much of Igbo history and Ikwerre history that you know. What do you think is going on? I mean, Ohanaze Ndigbo there are 5 core states of the southeast. We have Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Imo, and Enugu State. Now, people have been agitating. Igbo-speaking people in parts of Delta State, in parts of River State have been saying, look, bring us into one fold. Some people have said we are Igbos. Some have said we are not Igbos. Now, Ohanaze, in its magnanimity, you recall that a certain Ralph Uwechwe from Delta State that served as Biafra ambassador to Germany during the Civil War years, at a point was Ohanaze Ndigbo President General. Now, people in River State have been clamoring to be the headship of Ohanaze Ndigbo. Now, the thing is done alphabetically, and it is now the turn of Aro River State, to produce the President General. We had 2 contestants, Okuku and Azuta-Mbata. At the end of the day, Azuta-Mbata emerged as PG of Ohanaze. A certain group, Rivers Restoration Movement, gave him 7 days, to resign from that leadership. Now we have Ogbakor Ikwerre, the umbrella organization of Ikwerre people, say, look, you have committed sacrilege. Ikwerre people are not Igbos. How do you think this will help in resolving the crisis of Igbo identity in the meantime?
Are you done?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, you see, we don't even need to travel far. Honestly, the thing that is playing out now is very easy. Let us take some salient questions to be able to resolve the puzzle. Number one, the Ndigbo, as people from Ogbakor, Ikwerre Kingdom, been attending their meetings before now, that's number one. Then when we're talking of Oyingbo proper, who are they? Do we consider Ikwerre Kingdom, Ikwerre nationalities as part of them? Okay? Number three, when we look at those people that elected this current Ohanaze, where people from Ikwerre Kingdom part of the election, all right? If all these questions, if they are no, if no, then I think the Ogbakor Ikwerre people, Ogbakor people are right. But if it is yes, that those people have been attending their meetings before now, that they are also being considered from the onset as Oyigbo, and that they were inclusive regarding those that elected this man, then they have...
No, Doc, let me tell you now, short of answering your question, Ogbakor is an Igbo word. Ogbakor means a congregation.
Of Ikwerre people.
Of Ikwerre people. The word Ogbakor is the operational word. It means congregation, a gathering of Ikwerre people. So Ogbakor Ikwerre means a gathering of Ikwerre people. Now, there's been this division, and that is what I want. I was hoping that you will get into that. There's been this division between... Some people say we are, others say we are not.
I will get there.
There's been this idea of trying to resolve. I just cited the instance of a certain Ralph Uwechwe, who was President General of Ohanaze and Igbo, and there was no fuss about it. He led the organization for like 4 or 5 years. There was no contest about it. There's been like this division, this conflict, this contestation by a certain group of people. We are Igbos. We are not Igbos. Now the Igbo people have reached out and said, now let's bring everybody, the Igbo nation. When you say Obi Igbo, it means the settlement of Igbos. That is the first community, that's the first city you drive into when you leave Abia State. After the Imo River that divides Imo and Abia and River State, the first city that you meet is Obi Igbo, which means the settlement of Igbos. There are so many of them. The language is a variant of Igbo language. Like, okay, does an Eba man, is an Eba man different from an Ijebu man?
Now, let me give you that. Let me pick you. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
An Eba man.
Yes, that's where I'm going. There is a town called Ijebu-Jesha in Oyo State.
Okay.
Ijebu-Jesha. Why they call them Ijebu-Jesha is this. They are on Ijesha land. Okay. But their forefathers migrated from Ijebu. Okay. That is Ijebu people living in Ijesha land. But fortunately or otherwise, they are now in Osun State, okay, not in Ogun State. So will you now go and take somebody from that place to come and be a leader of whatever in Ogun State? That is one. Two, let me also take you back to this issue of Yoruba nation. Yoruba nation. People have been agitating for Yoruba nation. But me, I've always been looking at them, you still don't know where you are heading to, that it can't work. I'm a Yoruba man.
Okay.
It can't work. I have 2 examples on that. Few years ago, they were to come out with the VC of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. And they picked somebody from Akure to be the VC. And they started carrying egungun and all those, masquerade and all sort of fetish things in the campus for the first time. Why? Because they said their VC must come from Modakeke, Ikwetumodu area. I was now asking, went on a debate like this. I was now asking, then where do you put the so-called Oduduwa you are talking about? Okay. Then some kings, they rose up. Some kings rose up. They said, no, they are not children of Oduduwa. So tell me, how can that work? Okay. Where am I going is this. Okay. It is high time in this country that we know that, yes, we might be passing through a phase. We might be passing through a phase, no doubt about that. There is nothing as good as cohesion. Okay. In my house, the next person to me, we have been neighbors, even from another street, for over 20 years. He's an Igbo man. His children are my children. They are friends. Now, tell me, if there is anything now, will I want those people ostracized? We have the same face. Do you understand? Okay. So what I'm saying is, it is good. I mean, it is high time we allowed cohesion to reign in our nation.
One last question before we bring in our diaspora guest. Will a Yoruba man in Kwara State, is he a real Yoruba man? Will he claim the Yoruba man? A Yoruba man in Kogi or Kwara State, is he Yoruba?
Yeah, Yoruba people in Kwara State have been claiming Yoruba. Okay. Even though, for instance, I'm an Ekiti man. Okay. All right? Due to delineation, boundary delineation, we have Ekiti local government in Kwara State. Yes. And when you see those people, their own language, dialect, culture, everything, just like the Ekitis.
So does that make them Yoruba people?
Well, what do you mean by major? Are they not speaking Yoruba? Okay. If you are speaking Yoruba, you are a Yoruba man.
So the Ikwerre man that speaks Igbo is an Igbo man.
So any Ikwerre man that speaks Igbo is supposed to be Ikwerre man. Except he refuses otherwise to be seen as an Ikwerre man.
I like the word you use, supposed to. Yes. Now let's bring in our. I understand that you teach history. You are a historian. So can you walk us through, this crisis and how do you think we can resolve the crisis of Igbo identity? You are conversant with everything that we've been talking about here.
Chukuma, it's a serious issue that we are facing, but it's not unexpected. Nothing going on in Ikwerre and their reaction that is unexpected. So you have to go back to the beginning. Remember, that region was Eastern region. When it was Eastern region from 1954, there was no effort by Ikwerre people or other people who speak Igbo to disassociate themselves from Igbo people. What happened was as a result of the aftermath of the Civil War, the Nigerian Civil War. After the Civil War, people decided what would be beneficial to them. Being associated with Igbo people, would that be beneficial to them or not? And some people decided that no, it would not be beneficial to them because Igbo people were seen in some quarters as people who have leprosy, so to say. And then that was what started the disassociation, coupled with government policies, including the creation of new states from the then Eastern region. So you find out that there were some people who were comfortably being Igbo people before the war, put in a different state. And for them to feel that they belong, and being that Igbo people are being isolated in some quarters, in some places, they decided that they don't want to be Igbo. So what happened over the years is that continuous move away from being associated with Igbo people. And it's not something, it's a natural human thing. If you see that if I can change, there are people actually in America here, if they can change their color so that they will stop being blacks because of how black people are treated, they will do that. In fact, there are people who may be black, but they carry themselves as white in their behavior, the way they talk, because they don't want to be associated with black, which doesn't give you any advantage. So that was what happened. So what is happening now is that there's a movement to reverse that. Pat Utomi said after that election that this is the beginning of the end of the Civil War. So what is happening now is an effort to reverse that move that started after the war, where people who were traditionally and culturally Igbo people started disassociating themselves from the Igbo. And it's expected that some people who have been used to that, they've been used to being seen as not Igbo and getting that advantage of not being Igbo, they are resisting being dragged back into the Igbo nation. And it's not Igbo nation, they are doing well in terms of the way they are seen in Nigeria. So these people are saying, we don't want to be dragged into this. That's just what is going on. Now, on the part of Igbo people, what I don't like about what some Igbo people do is going around saying to people, you are Igbo, you have to be Igbo, you must be Igbo. It's not necessary, it's not needed, you know. If the Igbo nation, if Igbo, according to Charles Solu, the governor of Anambra State, if he builds Taiwan of Nigeria in Anambra State, you don't have to tell anybody to identify with Igbo. If the Igbo nation, if the 5 states, or if you want to say 7 states, it doesn't matter. If they start acting well and doing things well, people will want to associate with them. People will start coming there to buy land. People will want to. So the issue is that the war has not ended. You know, this is one aspect of it that is becoming clear to a lot of people. It hasn't ended. People are still moving away from being associated with the Igbo nation. And that's just what is going on. They are disentangling themselves. And now we want to bring them back in. And some people are saying we don't want to be part of it. So it's a natural thing.
All right, and thanks very much, Dr. Damages. I've recorded 1 damage against your name now. If you are talking of somebody building a Taiwan in Nigeria, that's expected. I've recorded it against your name. Now, KJ, let me come straight to you. Like Dr. Damages said, this seems to be a very serious issue. And he also referenced Dr. Pat Utomi, Professor Pat Utomi. And Pat is one man, he's from Delta State. Pat is one man that has never hidden, you know, his Igbo identity at any point in time. Even when you don't ask Pat Utomi, Pat is eager to tell you for free, look, I'm Igbo. He is not the only one. Oba Edozien, you know, the last Igwe, the last Obi of Asaba, the Asaba of Asaba, was very vocal. He was very vocal when he said, look, we are Igbo people, and charged the leadership of then Ohanaze to ensure that they bring together the Igbo nation. He said in 7 states, across the 7 states of Nigeria. He mentioned the 5 core Igbo states, and then Delta State, where he is from, and River State. In all of this, do you think that Ohanaze and Igbo taking the leadership of Ohanaze to River State is some form of a resolution of that identity, or is it going to cause more damage within the years that Azuta-Mbata will be the leader of Ohanaze and Igbo? I want you to factor in the fact that his people are already smoking fire. They say they have withdrawn all the titles given to him. They say he committed sacrilege. It's more like he's an outcast. How much damage or how much unification do you think that this back and forth will help solidify and resolve the crisis of Igbo identity?
Okay, thank you so much. Let me start from your last part of the question. This certain senator or ex-senator is not the first person from River State to participate in Ohanaze and Igbo, and I'm so glad I'm on both sides of my hands. I'm guided by historians, Dr. Damages being one and Dr. CM being the other, who bring all kinds of understanding to this. But I want to say this: those people who speak unadvisedly, have they ever sat down to look at the history of the state they are talking about, and the formation of River State, and how that the place they call these places now was formed before they came to make this statement? By the way, the last time I checked, I think the freedom of association belongs to everyone. It's a fundamental human right in Nigeria, and I don't see how a certain group, small group, in a community can just rise up and decide to say, we have withdrawn your titles, and if you don't do this, we'll do that. These are the threats, and that have, you know, refused to go away with us right from the military era. You get up one day, you just issue orders to people. Who are you? Are you God? You know, and this doesn't have the right to belong to any group. I'm Igbo. I grew up in Benue. I associate with the Benue people. You know, right here, the Benue people are everywhere, and when they have their meetings, some of them invite me to the meeting. Don't they know I'm Igbo? They know I'm Igbo, but they have seen me grow up with them, and they see me as part of them. So what I'm simply saying is, look, and then you can't even come down to the fact to say, because the man, you know, we're not Igbos. Will they, in Tiv land, there's two sets of Tiv people. There's one called the Ikwerre people, the other one, the Tiv people. Does the Tiv people, the real Tiv people who are more in number, get up and say, the Ikwerre man, who is more, a smaller group, not part of the Tiv land? Do the Idoma people, who is also part of Benue State, say that the Akwa people and the Gumale, which is the Odoso and the other smaller minority group, they don't speak the same exact dialect with them? They're not part of that tribe. Look, we have to go away from this nonsense, okay? And this is the same continuously policy that was introduced, you know, some time ago, which is to divide the East and then continue to dominate them. I agree with you know, Pato Tommy, that if we are able to bring this to a close, then the total end of the war will start coming. And I also agree with Dr. Damages. The best way for you to have friends all over is to have success. So if the Eastern governors, who they call Eastern governors, agree to work together and bring development to the Southeast, look, everybody will come to the Southeast. Those who don't even want to associate because they feel that they would be stigmatized by the Igbo, you know, the so-called Igbo, what they are calling prosecution. Okay, since they are afraid they'll be prosecuted as Igbos and they don't want to associate with Igbos, let us go ahead and develop our place. We'll now decide who we should accept to be Igbo and who we should not. But so far as it is now, let us carry our cross. All I beg the Eastern governors is to work together. Go and press, just like you've seen now, they are pressing the North, sat down and pressed and make sure that what they wanted is what came to pass. Let the Eastern governors go and press. Let the seaport be open in Akwa Ibom. Let the seaport be open, you know, be expanded in Calabar, in One, okay, and the one in Port Harcourt. If those things begin to function properly, the East will have no reason not to become what we think it should be, which is a place, a destination in the world. I mean, I'm not talking about Africa. I'm talking about the world. A destination in the world. The East will become a destination in the world because we have what it takes. You can't. There's nothing you cannot get. Look at, you know, I'm trying to put together what happened in the East in the last you know, celebration, Easter, Christmas celebration. Even though Christmas is not part of you know, our traditional celebration, but you saw the colors that came from that part of Nigeria, never have been seen before. These are things that we should celebrate and make sure that we market it to the world and really all know that there is a destination in the East where everyone should come to every end of the year to see the wonders of God. Thank you.
All right, then. Thanks very much, KJ. Now, CM, let me come to you. CM, some elements have alleged that Ohanaze Ndigbo is surreptitiously trying to recreate a Biafra. To recreate a Biafra, you know, by saying that, look, Ikwerre people are Igbos. And the fact that if the Ikwerre people eventually accept to be Igbos, that the map of Biafra, but let's go away from Uti Posedetis and all of that, you know, boundaries, colonial boundaries, pre-colonial boundaries and all of that, that even they are trying to get as far as parts of Cross River State, parts of Benue State that represented the Bight of Biafra during the trade route. You know, during the trade route, Biafra wasn't actually an empire, but it was a trade route that flourished at a certain point in time in the 13th or 14th, during the 13th and 14th century. Some people have alleged that this attempt by Ohanaze, you know, is to recreate Biafra and Igbo domination around the former East Central state of Nigeria. What's your reaction to all of that, considering the fact that, look, we also had, I keep going back to Ralph Uwechwe, who was former President General of Ohanaze Ndigbo. Those people that are making this allegation, does it look like there's some form of truth in that assertion?
Okay, thank you, Chukuma. I think, first of all, let me answer the question your guest posed when he spoke. He said, has the Ikwerre people been attending Ohanaze meetings? The answer is yes. It is not only that they've been attending Ohanaze meetings, they've been officers, members of the executive. An instance is Barrister Uche Okuku. When Nyanwodo from Nsukka area was the President General of Ohanaze Ndigbo, Uche Okuku from River State, Elele, to be precise, was the Secretary General. So, like the guest, I know you're listening. If somebody from Ofa in Kwara State should be the Secretary General of Afenifere, and maybe 4 or 5 years later, you now want to contest for the leadership of Afenifere, how can people now tell you that people from Ofa are not Yoruba? That is what is playing out clearly in River State. So that tells you that this is purely political. Somebody is manipulating the Ikwerre people. You know, those that are claiming all this. But then, let's look at why some people are even denying. This denial, like Rudolph gave, Dr. Damages gave some historical background after the war, is because they don't want to be judged by the same standard they set for Ndigbo. If you claim you are Igbo in River State, at the age of 10, you must be able to, they will treat you the way they treat Ndigbo. But if you say you are not Igbo, they said, okay, these are not the people giving Nigeria trouble. That's one. So, but they've forgotten that the civil war has ended. Come out and say the truth. Some Ikwerre people are now saying it is better for us to own up. We were told to deny our Igbo identity in favor of what will come to us from the federal government. That's why they are doing it. That is one of the reasons they denied. Then secondly, another reason some people are denying is, you know, the issue of abandoned property. In Nigeria, after the war, Ndi Igbo left a lot of properties in Yoruba land, Lagos to be precise. When they came back, they got them back intact. I was told that in Kano, in the far north, some Hausa people will say, you are back, oh, this is your house. We were able to collect rent or this, take it back. In fact, as of today, nobody talks of abandoned property in northern Nigeria. Nobody talks of abandoned property in Lagos State. I don't want to bore you down with the best example provided by Otumba Subomi Balogu, the former owner of First City Monument Bank or First City Merchant Bank, and what he did for Alex Ekweme. Ekweme abandoned his building and ran away for his dear life, only to come back after the war. He found out that it had been renovated. People are living into it. In it, Balogu called him, said, look, this is your house. And after greeting, he brought out a bag of money, said, this is the rent I collected for you. Well, Ekweme never handed him over. So that is the best example of brotherliness, being your brother's keeper. In Ikwerre own, that is only in Ikwerre land you are hearing of abandoned property. So they are afraid. Some of them I used to speak to them, say, look, you are Igbo, stop denying. We are not going to tell you to bring back our properties you seized. But that's why they are afraid. Now, going deeper into the, because there's a lot to say about this before coming to whether Ohanaze want to recreate Biafra. That is purely maybe contemporary politics in Nigeria. People want to score political points. The thing again to say is this. The Ikwerre people, some of them, not all, claimed before, they used to say they are originally, they are Bini people. It took the effort of Barrister Uche Okuku, because he wanted to be the President General of Ohanaze Ndigbo, to come out and then start propagating this, telling them that, look, there's a book written by the former Oba of Benin, the late Oba Kenzua. When he came to Ikwerre land and all those Igbo-speaking area of Huada, Eche, Omoma, to work as a district officer during the colonial era. So he said to his amazement, he found out that from Onitsha down to Port Harcourt, all these things, they are speaking Igbo. These are Igbo people, because he never knew. It's like he did a field work. So he wrote the book titled, I Remain, Sir, Your Obedient Servant. If you check on Amazon, it is there, but it's out of stock for now. So on page 19, people have been saying it. He clearly stated where Ikwerre people are from. Now, the logic is, if you claim you be Bini and the Oba of Bini, a custodian of ancient civilization, we now tell you they know who they are. Ikwerres are not Bini. So that one has died down now. You can't see Ikwerre people saying that because they are ashamed. People, because there is written evidence. And even if not a written evidence, the person you are claiming you belong to say you are not part of me. If you go and ask the other people, they will know. They know who the Benis are. They don't include the Ikwerre. So why are you forcing yourself on an unwilling person who is not going to accept you? So this politics is that. And even then, just to give another example, Obi Wale is a prominent Ikwerre son. All Ikwerre people revere him. It's like the way they mention Zeke or maybe Ojuku or Sambakwe or Emayo Okpara. So they revere this Obi Wale. Obi Wale attends every Ohanaze meeting. In fact, Obi Wale is on record to have accused the Igbos of the Southeast now, the way it is, that why are you people abandoning us? We are coming to you. Why? He goes to a meeting in Enugu. He talks to Ekwueme when he was alive. He said, why are you people? He said, but you people don't want. He said, no, it's just because of politics. Obi Wale, the son, is still alive. He can contradict me. Okay, Wale, the former president of Nigerian Bar Association. That one is also part. They knew. So the thing is that this is purely politics. Okay, does it? How do you marry the two? Wike went to be president of Nigeria. He denied his Igbo. He said, I'm a Rivers man. But Ikwerre man called Rotimi Amoechi wanted to be president. They said nobody can deny me my Igbo identity. So to me, this thing does not really exist.
All right then.
They are just being manipulated.
Okay.
If we are drawing the boundary of Igbo nation now, Ikwerre and all those Igbo speaking area, they are part of it. But why is it that it's only Ikwerre making noise? What of the Ndoni people? What of the Eche? Are they against it? About 5 of them contested to be Ohanaze the president general. One won, and they now went back to go say they are banishing him. To me, that is just what do I say? It's dead on arrival. Nothing like that.
Now, thank you, CM. That's quite an expose. Very insightful, very magnificent, very profound. Thanks very much. Now, let's come back to the studio where we still have Dr. K. Doctor, CM mentioned something about that people are politicizing the election. And you have also read and you have heard that I think the thing has been transported into the politics of Rivers State. I mean the state politics, where we have a godfather and his son, godson, estranged, both of them. And so
I think it's even from that area, from that.
No,
Fubara.
No, Fubara is, I think, either Opobo or Boni. Okay. And then the governor is Ikwerre. Ikwerre from Rumubia. Is from Rumubiakani, where they used to call Wimpy Junction. That is where the governor is from. That's his native community. Now, some people have alleged that, look, this back and forth between Azuta-Mbata is not the president, Uche Okuku is the president, that is being sponsored by the two camps. One camp is that of FCT minister, and the other camp is that of Fubara. Now, people say that Ikwerre people, the vocal Ikwerre people said, like, look, Fubara is trying to rubbish the Ikwerre people by saying that they are Igbos. Why did this kind of traditional socio-political organization, why should it come into the top of state politics?
Yeah, you see, you cannot divulge the two of them, because at the end of the day, they also have their own followers. Let me give you, for example, look at Afenifere. You know that along the line, Afenifere too was divided.
Renewed.
Afenifere renewal group. And then this one. And then one following this, one following the other. So the one that is happening now, in fact, it's because of the exposé of CM that now made me to see it fully. That, there's a kind of a fifth columnist in Yoruba. They will call it Owolowo Iso Olo Jacob. That is, the hand is that of Esau. The voice is that of Jacob. We all know that story.
Yeah, we know.
Now, you see, there are a lot of things playing out. And it has no other thing than 2027. When you look at Igbo people, okay, remember, the president was being given a clean slate by, I think, Igbo people now.
Yes, when he went to Enugu.
Yes. That they are supporting for 2027. Now, because
it was a group of Ohanaze.
A group of them.
In fact, one of the former executive members of Ohanaze.
So that is to tell you that all these sociocultural groups, they also have their own followers. And by so doing, they want to say, okay, we are throwing our support to you. And when they say, we are throwing our support to you, you know, nothing goes for nothing. Okay. Sure you know, nothing goes for nothing. So everybody is just trying to see how they can also take a chunk of the cake.
All right.
Nothing more.
All right. CM, let me come back to you once more before we get into the second topic of discussion. Now, I want you to, can you tell us how this, the leadership of John Azuta-Mbata, given the background of what is happening, is it going to strengthen or diminish the status of Ohanaze Ndigbo in the next 4 or 5 years of his tenure?
See, let me say this. The moment, not just Azuta-Mbata, the moment somebody from Ikwerre, because if not Azuta-Mbata, it would have been Uche Okuku or maybe somebody. The moment Azuta-Mbata's name was mentioned, the profile of Ohanaze skyrocketed to high heavens. Just take it from me.
The what?
Skyrocketed to high heavens.
Yes. Those Ndigbo from the southeastern states and that of Anioma in Delta, they've been looking for opportunity like this. The jinx has been broken. This was what Obiwale wanted when he was attending Ohanaze during his meeting, during his lifetime. He said they want to lead this organization. Now the opportunity has come because they do it rotationally. So what they are doing is just a tip of the iceberg. I think Azuta-Mbata is just making a courtesy visit. I saw him visit Hope Uzodinma. I think he's been to Abia. He will soon go to Anambra. I don't know if he has been, and then Ebony. By the time he finishes it and probably interact with Senator Ned Nwoko from Anioma, I mean, all these things it will die down. It's just like Andrew Liver Salt. People making all this noise, they will quieten down. They can't threaten. Their threat is nothing, because if you go to the street, somebody like Uche Okuku has written copiously, published in the past, that Ikwerre is Igbo, and he justified it. They kept quiet. So these are just like, when you pay some people to make noise, they will make noise until the money you pay them expire. They will keep quiet. They can't do nothing. That is just my own. Thank you.
All right, and thanks very much, CM. It will be nice to also state that the presidency, the IGP of police, DSS, and the 5 Southeast governors have also congratulated and accepted John Azuta-Mbata as the validly elected President General of Ohanaze Ndigbo. Now, let's get into the second topic of discussion. Talking about tax reform, the governors have come out to back President Tinubu's tax reform bills. It's more like a vote phase that they made, because initially they said, no, it's not going to work. But now they said 13 state governors have thrown their weight behind the contentious tax reform bills. Now, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has proposed tax reform bills which are receiving backing from the Nigeria Governors Forum, NGF. However, the governors have expressed concerns that certain proposals, such as a potential increase in VAT, that value-added tax rates, could adversely affect the North, particularly due to its high inflation rate. The NGF has put forward a revised VAT sharing formula that allocates 50% to equality of states, 30% to derivation, and 20% to population, contrasting with the federal government's proposal that allocates 20% to equality of states, 60% to derivation, and 20% to population. They believe that these adjustments are necessary to ensure a more equitable distribution of resources. The NGF proposed changes to the VAT structure aim to alleviate the financial burden on the North, which is grappling with inflation issues. Is the only North that is grappling with inflation issues. Now, in the adjustments, the governors suggested a 10% allocation to the federal government, arguing that the new formula will positively impact states, helping to create a more balanced fiscal framework. The meeting convened by the NGF aimed to resolve potential gray areas within the legislation, while ensuring there wouldn't be an increase in the already high inflation rates. Additionally, the proposed tax reform bills have gained support from various civil society organizations across the country, encouraging leadership in the region to leverage innovative strategies to maximize local potential. Still, opposition remains among some lawmakers and governors, particularly concerning resource distribution and the implications of potential VAT rate increases. The ongoing discussions within the National Assembly will determine the final outcome of these tax reforms and their implementation across Nigeria. Dr. K, the governors made a turnaround and said, oh, well, that was after the meeting with the FRS boss, Oloyede, and they said, okay, looks like we can run with this. Looks like we can run with this, and but they made adjustments to the proposals on VAT. Now, does it look like the governors didn't actually understand the proposal before they rejected it in the first instance?
You see, it's not that they don't understand.
No, that they didn't understand.
It's not that they didn't understand.
Okay.
And it's not that they just made a U-turn. Remember that during the July tide, they went to visit the president in Lagos here. There I knew that there is no way all of them will have gone there on the visit without an invitation. Do you understand?
Across board, APC, PDP, Labour Party,
without an invitation. And that invitation must to hold some kind of Christmas gift.
What do you mean?
If I come to greet you during Christmas, will you not give me cake to eat? Or give me...
That's if I have cake.
But you give me a bottle of wine.
If I have wine.
At least you still give me something. Even
water,
if it is
I can
water.
give you water.
Even if it is or cola nut.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Traditionally, I'll give you cola nut.
Cola nut, yes. Now, they went back. They had a meeting again with Oloyede. And they now came back, went for Governors Forum meeting. Abi?
Yes.
Before making this declaration. Well, let me quickly sand this. Let me sand this without showing any form of subjectivity.
Okay.
The best practices by IMF is that individual countries' tax should be contributing between 15 and 20% to the GDP. Are you with me? But here, we are contributing just 6%. Okay? But again, when you look at our 6% that we are contributing, are there no other double taxation that are not recorded within that 6% that can make it to exceed the 6%? That is one. Two, when you are taxing those people that their own are more than that, for instance, in South Africa, in Rwanda, and some other countries like that, we see them putting in structures, putting in systems that will ensure that, one, those taxes are well collected and are well spent on the people without any iota of mistrust anywhere.
Why do you think the northern governors rejected the bills in the first place?
You just mentioned now that they now said that you restructure the distribution.
Especially VAT.
It's because of the VAT issue. Okay? But then, like I said, they went for Christmas greetings. And for going there, at least they will be served cups of water. At least. And that cup of water, of water might have doused.
Are you suggesting that the president lobbied the governors?
It's nothing other than lobbying.
At their own expense?
Well, who cares? Are they there for you? Most of those governors, are they there for you?
But at their own expense.
No, listen to this. Even listen to this. When you're talking of contribution to GDP, in this country, it's being done mostly by the SMEs. And to what extent is this taxation going to affect them now? You are talking about. We are talking about.
No, part of the.
These are the things that the governor is supposed to have protected.
Exactly. Part of the letter.
Hey,
exactly the
they
point I'm
should
asking.
have protected.
Do you think that they were lobbied at their own expense?
Exactly what I'm saying. Now listen to this. Listen. Before now, SMEs were even closing up. Even bigger industries were closing up. And somebody is telling me that this one will now bring them back. When you are taxing hungry people that are hungry in the first instance, you removed fuel subsidy. You removed all sorts of subsidy.
No, but
just now, listen, sir. Just now they said they are now contemplating this telecom tariff is also going up. They talk about Bande. I'm in Bande. But they still take my lines.
Dr. K, are you aware that in the new tax reforms bill that is before the National Assembly, if you earn less than 50 million naira, you are tax exempt? Are you aware? Are you aware that the reform is pro-poor?
How many?
Is pro-poor.
Who is saying is pro-poor?
I have just said one thing now.
Now,
if you earn less than 50 million naira,
listen now.
You are tax exempt.
I said, listen now. Even when you are exempted,
okay.
Are you exempted from first subsidy removal? Are you exempted from the 450 you are not going to be paying for data? Are you exempted from the increases in electricity tariff and all other tariff? Are you exempted?
Shouldn't the government generate tax?
Are you exempted from how much you are buying food in the market?
Shouldn't the government generate taxes?
We're not saying you should not generate tax, but it shouldn't be at the expense of the people, because you are there to ensure economic livelihood of the people. But the moment that you are now saying, yes, you got to generate tax, we are generating that tax for who?
All right.
Then the one you have been generating, what have you been using it for?
Okay.
It has been landing in people's pocket. Look at the
Dr.
1.1 billion for feeding. Look at the 850 for
hold on to your line of thought.
Insecticide.
Hold on to your line of thought. I'll come back to you.
I mean, you are part of that are using it for your beards.
Let's get in our diaspora guest here. Now, Dr. Damages, let me come straight to you. Dr. Damages, we understand that the governors have made a turnaround and they agreed with the tax reform bills, but they are disagreeing with the sharing formula of the VAT. In disagreeing, I think the only contentious issue there is that because they have to change 60% to 50% in terms of equality of states. Is that equality of states? But I think the one that is a problem for them is the issue of derivation. And we know what derivation is all about. Derivation is that, look, if you have a certain bank that is headquartered in Lagos and all the VAT they collect, that certain amount of it, which is 60%, will now go to the state that houses the headquarters. That is what people are quarreling with. Do you think that the governors have given away much by agreeing to the tax reform bills? Dr. K just made mention of SMEs and how much they generate and all of that. And recall too that there's going to be a uniformity in collection, in terms of collection. Uniformity is only after the collection that the distribution will be made. Do you think that the governors have more like they shot themselves on the feet?
No, we have to differentiate when we say the governors. The governors in the southern part of the country were not against what was proposed. It was more or less the governors in the northern parts that were against what was proposed. And it's based on they've done their own calculation. They understand that if that was to be advanced the way it was proposed, the money coming to them would drop. And that was why they were kicking against that. But also, the governors also, they were aware that there was a challenge in courts going up to the Supreme Court and that they might lose. And if they should lose, they lose everything. The other thing was that they also understand that a president, especially a Nigerian president, is very powerful. And it will be difficult traditionally for them to lose something they want to see implement. So they weighed all these things and they were looking for a middle ground. My hope is that the government also considered this in their proposal. That is, they knew that there would be opposition and that they probably put out something that they were ready to compromise and get to a middle ground. If that is what they put up, then we may have a consensus and they may have an agreement and it might go forward. I don't think the governors lost a lot. They knew it was inevitable that they could actually lose entirely the whole structure if the court rules against them in support of Rivers State and Lagos. So I think it's a good compromise. I hope it to be what we need to learn in Nigeria is to learn how to phase something in instead of putting them at once. So you can say you phase it in. Let's say every 4 years, you reduce the percentage that will be derivation or increase it so that you get to the point where every state should be self-sufficient. That's where we want to be. We don't want all states to continue to depend on the federal government to sustain themselves. So that's kind of paradigm shift that I'm looking forward to seeing in Nigeria.
All right, then. Thanks very much, Dr. Damages. Now, KJ, let me come to you. KJ, this contention has raised, and in the process of its rage, you know, the president said, look, the tax reform bills have come to stay. Is that what we are seeing now? And what does that tell you about the president? Okay, I understand that KJ is, we've lost KJ's connection. Now, CM, let me come to you. The president once said that, look, these tax reform bills have come to stay. And is that what we are seeing now? What does it tell you about the political will of the president, you know, to push things forward? Look at the tax reform bills, one. Look at the local government autonomy that is pushing. Look at the issue of state police that is also pushing. Does it look like the president is traveling a direction that will put Nigeria in a better stead in the next few years?
Well, on paper, yes. Because all these are what people are talking about. All these things that the president wants to implement is like they are streetwise. People discuss them in beer parlors and everything, and then where we know. So it's not that he's saying something that is like a Greek to us. We all knew about it. Maybe this time they want to listen and then be courageous to do what an average Nigerian wants him to do. But on tax bill, let me say this. You see, let me say for him to accept, that is why I don't know whether it is true yet, but I'm assuming. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt. For him to accept what the northern governors are proposing in terms of amendment, people think that maybe they feel that it's out of because on his own merit. No, there's no merit. But somebody is telling me that Lakurawa, the latest terror group, has entered Osun State. You know, this Fulani Caliphate, all these people, the way they get what they want is not really negotiation because they can't come to round table. They will use one type of underground tactics to either threaten you or smear you until you give in. So this is just like what they use, because they say the terror group have entered the western region, western states or the southwest states. So by trying to unleash harm, people will say, why not agree to these people so that they can now, this thing will die down or maybe, you know, abate for a while. That is to tell you the people sponsoring this Lakurawa people. That is what that is for if you put 2 and 2 together. But then let us look at this tax bill. What Tinubu agreed. Before, they said it's derivation 60%. To be shared, the population gets 20%. Equity, or what they call equality, that we share the equally on whatever, irrespective of according to the state, will be 20%. So the revised formula now, based on what the northern governors pushed down Tinubu's throat, is 30% for derivation, that is divided, cutting it into 2. Then population equity will now be 50%. Population remains 20%. So the logic, the question I want to pose is, how can you derive with 30% and you share based on 50%? So 30% we go and derive, then 50% we get more. It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. Left for me, if they are going to adopt my own formula, population is 5%. You can't inflate Nigerian population and then levy the rest of the country to take care of them. No. Population 5%, then equity 15%. Bringing it to 20, then derivation 80, so that people will look in west and then go and do something for themselves. So to that extent, I feel that Tinubu gave in so quickly, and it looks like he's not convinced in what he's doing. One thing is that for those, like we used to say, if an armed robber attacks you and you feel you've escaped, you must continue to sleep with one eye closed and one eye open. What this means is that whatever thing Tinubu is going to bring out again, They will still go and gang up and say, look, even if it's a 99%, 100%, they say, okay, let it be 99. They must make an input. Imagine what they are trying to say. Okay, has Tinubu consulted the southern governors to know their view? What he should have told them was, this is for the entire country. You, the North, has decided. I have to consult the other people. Let me see what they are going to say. Because he's trying to, if he gives into this, he's finished. Whatever he brings in, they must criticize it, and they make sure that they will tell him, you see, now that you see tax, now we are having a peaceful country, the tax has been resolved, we want dialogue, we want this. Their own dialogue is to do what they want. That is their own dialogue. Their own dialogue is not to see merit in what we are saying, and it's very, very dangerous. So Tinubu, by giving into this, is not doing himself any favor. But on merit, the point, what he's trying to marshal out is what the country needs. If really Nigeria want to make progress, but for him to give in, I don't like it.
All right then. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, CM. But let's get quite a few things correct. The issue of Lakorawa coming into Osun State or Southwest is just that the governors raised the alarm. You know that there's some kind of movement of displaced terrorists from parts of Northwest into the Southwest. We have not established the fact that they are Lakorawas. And the governors, the governors NGF, Nigerian Governors Forum, is actually a collection of the 36 state governors. It is not that the northern governors are trying to force it down the throat of the president. It's collectively the Nigerian governors, 36 of them. And talking about the issue of what again? There's something I needed to correct again. I think I'll recall in the course of the program. Now let's come, Dr. Kayode. You wanted to react?
Yes, just to
briefly.
Yeah. You see, in this country, the Yoruba will say, "Ẹni tó bá jalè lẹ́ẹ̀kan, tó bá dàrán borí, aṣọ olè ló dàbòrà." That is, whoever has lacked integrity in the past can never be trusted. And especially when you see that person now surrounding himself or herself with people of the same zero integrity, then that person will not be taken seriously, will never be believed. The issue we have in this country now is this. No matter what the government is doing, because over the years, there have been a very huge gap truth gap between the people and the government. So no matter what they are doing, people don't want to be, especially this particular government, that there is that belief that that statement, collect victory, run away with it, and let us go to court. Because that is what the people believe has happened.
All right then, Dr. K.
So to that extent, it becomes increasingly difficult for anybody to believe any policy that this government is putting forward. Thank
you very much, Dr. K. I think what I needed to put out then was that, look, CM, coming to you now, you discover that the president is, I'm not sure the president is someone that people can force something down his throat. When he relocated the offices of the CBN and some offices of the CBN and MPA to Lagos, I mean, the North shouted, the North kicked and all of that. He stood his ground, and today, those offices are still in Lagos. The president has also more like balkanized the Nigerian Aviation College. They have 6 of them now, 6 colleges are around the 6 geopolitical zones. He looks like someone who is actually, you know, driven by the policy initiatives, and he has a will to do some of these things. I mean, look at how he just yanked off fuel subsidy. 3 other presidents were unable to do that. I just wanted to say that, look, he is not the kind of person that people will twist into doing something. What's your quick reaction to that?
Okay, well, because we are really human. I mean, in human relation, 1 + 1 cannot be 2. It might be 3, it might be 4, it might be 0. So because we are dealing with human being, probably maybe if the intention of him saying, okay, in the end, if I want 60% derivation and you are bringing it down to 30, all right, at least we are going halfway. But what the examples you cited, aviation college or whatever, you see, there are merits in all these things. It's like law school. In those days, Nigerian law school was only in Lagos. Even if you graduate from the faculty of law in any university in Nigeria, very far away like Borno State, you have to come down to Lagos. Now they've decentralized it to 6 law schools plus the one Wike built in Rivers, making it 7. Is it not good?
No, CM, sorry, CM. Yeah. We are not looking at the merit. We are looking at the political will of someone to do this.
Okay.
Even the domestication of aviation college, the North is kicking, but the president says no. It has come to stay. That's what I just want to put out.
Yes, I'm speaking. Okay, yeah. Maybe I'm speaking to the North now. Let them see. You see, when they start to display this type of selfishness. Okay. Anyway, to me, I will advise the president to be hardened the more. Let him go beyond aviation college and go to police academy. The one in Wudil in Kano is the only one that graduates. So what I would like the president to do in that aspect is that there should be police academy in all these geopolitical zones. If you don't want to join the police, you go to Kano. And so what? Because that will make you to, I mean, you see, that will make life a little bit easier. And there are a lot of other federal institutions that need to be decentralized. Why? If I should come to Zaria to train as an aviation pilot or something, then from maybe from Anambra State, and you are coming from Kaduna. So what if I train in Enugu or in Abakaliki? Am I no longer an aviation pilot? Is it not the same training? Why must we subject? All these things are just based on the fact that they feel that they are in control of the federal government and they can do what they want. So Tinubu, on this score, I support him and let him go beyond all this. Let there be more far-reaching changes.
All right, then. Thank you very much, CM. Now, let's get into the last topic of discussion quickly, because World Bank is at it again. They have projected economic growth for Nigeria in 2020, 2025, and 2026. According to the World Bank's Global Economic Prospects Report, Nigeria's economic growth is expected to increase to an average of 3.6% per year between 2025 and 2026. The projected growth is driven by the services sector, particularly in financial and telecommunication services, and is influenced by macroeconomic and fiscal reforms implemented by the federal government. Additionally, Nigeria's oil production is expected to increase, although it will remain below the OPEC quota. However, the report also notes that oil production growth has been marginal in the past year, with daily average production rising by 152,000 barrels per day in November 2024, but declining by 1.35% in December 2024. Furthermore, the World Bank expects per capita income growth to remain weak over the forecast horizon, despite the anticipated economic expansion. Nevertheless, the report is cautiously optimistic, suggesting that further improvements in business confidence and consumption, driven by a decline in inflation, will support the country's growth prospects. Dr. K, you heard all of that.
Yes.
What's your reaction? Quick one.
What are the things that brings about growth?
3.6%.
I said, what are the things that brings about growth? Consumption, production, isn't it? Now, what is our consumption level in Nigeria now compared to 2015? What is our production level in Nigeria now compared to? How many industries had left Nigeria in the past 1 year? How many of our SMEs are now operational? To what extent are you being able to buy what you used to buy before now? What is the comparative analysis of your disposable income, your real income, 2 years ago compared now? So tell me, where is the first bank? Where is the World Bank getting their data from? Where are they getting their data from? Have they gone to my 12 market to go and do a survey there, or to Oshodi, or go to Ekiti, or go to Anambra, or go to Sokoto or Maiduguri?
Maybe they have done that.
Even where people cannot even go to the farm to produce.
Doctor, maybe they have done that.
What is maybe? They don't. Nobody needs to tell me that they have done that.
For them to come up with
because
this data, with these statistics.
We all know what is happening. We all know. We are talking about black and white now.
Maybe there's something they are seeing from above.
What are they seeing? What are they seeing?
I'm asking you.
When people are hungry, when people are not producing, P&G, they left Nigeria, Dunlop, Michelin, all of them, PZ.
But new ones are coming.
Where are they coming from?
The president said by September last year, we had $30.1 billion FDI.
And where is that FDI? Where is it reflecting? Is it reflecting on your table? Is it reflecting in school? In people going to school? Go and look at how many people that are now dropout. Just yesterday, I was telling somebody, I said, I need to do something. I want to look for my friends.
Okay.
My friends who can give 80,000 naira every 4 months, so that we can pick 10 people from the streets back to school.
Okay.
Do you understand? Yeah. Of which I have picked one on my own by God's grace. Do you understand? So what I'm saying is, how many people have access to education, to health, to all these things? Look at the taxation that they are bringing out to telecommunication.
What you are doing is a good effort on your part.
Do you understand?
Can you just, let's have your concluding thoughts in like 1 minute if you can. We are running out of time.
My concluding thought is that Nigerians should open their eyes.
Generally on the topics that
we should open our eyes and don't accept what we are not supposed to accept.
Okay.
Follow who go follow you.
All right then. Thanks very much, Dr. Kayode. Now, let's bring in Dr. Damages here. Dr. Damages, you live in New York. I like the fact that you live in New York. And World Bank, is it in Washington or New York that they have their office?
It's in
New York?
No, DC.
In DC, okay, it's in DC. But okay, but you always go to DC. Now, is there something you people see there that we don't see? Please, can you help us? Can you help us understand?
Okay, let me explain what's happening. During the COVID time, America's economy contracted by 3.5%. When Biden came in, there was a big growth in the economy. It wasn't really about what Biden did. It was just that after a contraction, after things have gotten so bad, the economy has to go up. So what Buhari did for 8 years was like COVID in Nigeria. So Buhari was the COVID that Nigeria saw before the real COVID. And the economy has to go up, from where it was. I understand what Dr. Kayode is saying and the concern about the people on the street when we there feel whatever growth that is projected. This is still a projection. But just the fact that Dangote refinery is in online and is producing is a change in the economic outlook, and the economic they will have impact on the Nigerian economy. That we have impact on the final when we say the growth of the GDP, and the drop on the value of the naira. Even if the government does not even do anything, will mean that some people will invest in Nigeria, and there will be kind of economic growth. So these are expected. I don't know about the 3.5, but there will be a growth at a certain point. We can't continue to go down. There are people who live there, people who work there, and things have to start moving up in some ways. But again, we don't know what they will do. The people in government, they might do something that will bring in the opposite effect. And World Bank, they has the right. The way they operate, they have the right to change their prediction. They can come out tomorrow and say, "Oh, forget about what we said yesterday. We just saw what Tinubu did. We don't like that. We're changing the prediction." So don't take it.
All right, then, Dr. Damages, thanks very much. But can we have your concluding thoughts, because we are out of time now?
Oh, okay. I just want to say this thing. When we're talking about Ohanaze and what happened, there's already impacts around the world. So I never heard about this, but there is Ohanaze Ndibo worldwide. It's coming up in so many cities and so many towns across the world. People are forming Ohanaze Ndibo worldwide. I think there is a kind of something was removed with the election of the senator as Ohanaze president. I think people now see an opportunity to bring Igbo people who are culturally connected together. So I think is something that we have to watch. Is going to be interesting to see. It may surpass the World Igbo Congress, which used to be that organization. I think people now felt that, okay, there's an expansion beyond just people who were traditionally seen as Igbo people, that we have an opportunity to do something. So that's something to pay attention to.
All right, then. Thanks very much, Dr. Damages. Now, KJ, can we have your quick thoughts? Do you think that 3.6% growth in an economy, is it encouraging, especially considering the fact that this is an economy that was doing 7.8%? That is year on year, 7%, 8% year on year, between 2015 and, between 2007 and 2015. It's 3.6, it's 3.7, encouraging. I also like for you to to factor the fact that, look, this is post-COVID. COVID is just about 4 or 5 years now. Is it encouraging? Other economies have also recovered and growing at good rates.
Yes, so you've answered my question, made it very easy for me. Other economies around the world have already gone ahead, and some are even, running on two engines right now. And then we're talking about three point something, and we, look, I want to ask a question to African leaders, especially in Nigeria. How many times have the World Bank recommended growth pattern for America, England, and Australia, and the rest of them? Why is that? It's only you people that they recommend for, and you are happy about that. You can't we sit down? We have what it takes, okay? And you see, my challenge is once you win an election, you become all-knowing. You know everything. You don't even want to consult any longer. This developed world, they still don't do away with their universities. They consult to their professors. They consult people who have built, stamina in those areas, and try to get an input from them and work with it. And that's why they still continue to be leaders in some of this part. Let us do that. And again, I want to also agree with Dr. Damages. That's my concluding point. This thing. You see, just watch what's going to happen to Ohanaze and people. Right now, politics is going to come in. A lot of people are going to start forming their own, and eventually they will disseminate, disperse the strength they already gathered, and that is to continuously divide the East. Because the more divided we are, the more fragmented we are, the more we're unable to do anything to our society. We must come off that. And I say to the Eastern governors, it is time for you to do what the North did. We were growing up, we knew of the 19 state governors who met and established even the Northern New Nigerian Bank and all the Northern districts. They established them. Those companies ran, even some of them are still until today. Why don't you all come together, put away your differences, and be able to work together for the development of the East? Nothing says that Imo, Anambra, and the rest cannot come together in a location and say, we're going to map out this land, a new land, a virgin place, and use it to become an industrial hub for the 5 eastern states or 7 eastern states, or the case may be. Good. So that people, your young ones, can have a place to showcase their talent, God-given talent. I think that it's time for them to have that conversation, not just mouth it, but be able to carry it out. Thank you. All right,
then. Thanks very much, KJ. And now, finally, to you, CM. CM, you live in the UK. How often does IMF and, IMF, how often do they make projections and recommendations for the UK economy? And I'd like for you to also put together your concluding thoughts, because we are out of time.
Well, the thing is, the UK, I don't think, for what I always hear them say is the Bank of England, not IMF. They only say what the Bank of England projection. They don't talk of IMF. It's like all this, those that spoke before me said, it just maybe all this idea of is for third world countries like Nigeria. They tell you they are projected. Why must it? What is it? No economics. So to answer your question directly, in UK, no, they listen to Bank of England, and that is, IMF has no business telling UK what their growth rate will be. They don't need they will look silly doing that. So that is the issue. But let us say this, for this 3.6% they are projecting for Nigeria. You see, the good thing about economics is that there is always a leeway out of anything you do or say. Do you know what it is all things being equal, ceteris paribus. So when they say all things being equal, they are giving themselves a leeway. Maybe if the team failed to get to 3.6 or below or whatever, they say all things being equal. So so many things we aren't equal. So I'm not taking in by all this projection at all. Nigeria should just do the right thing, go to production. When we must produce and export, you don't need to tell me the figure. The figure can be anything. But as long as you're operating a rentier economy, don't listen to IMF. Even if they tell you it's 1%, I don't believe it. If they say 20%, all these things are just conjecture. So I don't listen to them. Okay. Thank you.
All right, then. Thanks very much, gentlemen. And this will be the wrap on the show. We've been speaking with, here from our studio in Lagos, Dr. Dayo Kayode, who is a sociopolitical technocrat and an aviation safety expert. We also had virtually Dr. Damages, who is a satirist, writer, journalist, and adjunct professor at the School of Visual Arts in New York City, United States of America. We also had KJ. KJ is a media production and training expert and joined us from Maryland in the USA. We also had CM. Dr. CM is a trained clinical scientist. He has interest in international politics, history, and development. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to this show. Oh, well, we encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our page. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV. And on other social media platforms, we are at VOPTV Live. You can also visit our website for more interesting stories. We are at www.vop.ng. Now, keep a date with us next week for another interesting edition of the Diaspora Perspectives Show. It comes up every Saturday, 3 to 5 p.m. West African time and 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, EST. I am your host, Chukwuma Okoro. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And please, if you have to drink, drink responsibly. Bye for now.
Are you ready to connect with distinguished Nigerians around the world? The Diaspora Perspective is here to share the views of Nigerians in the diaspora on burning issues.
From the street of New York, the royal cities of London, and the bustling cities of Europe, Voice of the People Television brings to you a roundtable and collage of interesting views from Nigerians in diaspora.
Join the host of the show and some Nigerians in diaspora, Dr. Damages, the flagship, show, and KJ, as they discuss the experiences, challenges, and triumphs of Nigerians living abroad.
Discussing and analyzing everything from politics, culture, policies, career success, and how Nigerians are staying connected to their roots. Showing every Saturday by 2 p.m. West African time and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The Diaspora Perspective, giving a voice to Nigerians abroad.